You guys have played two, pretty tough opponents, back-to-back games. What have you learned about your squad in these last two games?
Oh, we're very close to our head coach, and our culture is taking over. It's kind of like the expectations and the standard the kids are responding to, and it's going to be another challenge this week. It starts with integrity and it's passion, physical and mental toughness. Those are the things that continue to show up and being very selfless throughout the process. So we feel like the kids are learning the culture that we're trying to instill in them, and it's showing up on the field.
This matchup with Army, these guys like to be real methodical and drain the clock. How important is it going to be for you guys to get off the field when those opportunities present themselves?
You know, it's probably very similar to any other game. It's just that these guys make it a point of emphasis to stay out there, and they'll go for it on more fourth downs than most teams. Um, our kids know that in order for us to have success, we got to play good on the early downs, and that'll allow us to dictate some of the things that they may do on third and long, or third and medium. If we keep the game in a third and short situation, we're gonna have a long day ahead of us.
And then can you just speak to the discipline it takes to play against this style of offense? It's just so different than anything else really you're going to see the rest of the year.
It starts with our eyes. Eyes are the key, then the finish. And we stress that throughout camp and since I've been here. But I use this phrase that I've had a lot of success with over the years when we played option teams. And the phrase is rake your own leads. And what that means is if you're responsible for the dive, take the dive. If you're responsible for the quarterback, take the quarterback. And if you're responsible for the pitch, take the pitch. Not I thought, not I wish, not what it looked like. Do your job. And if you'll rake your leads, if every player will rake their leads, we'll have a pretty yard by the end of the game. But it's going to take 11 guys committed on each individual play, putting their eyes in the right place, doing their individual job on that particular call.
Hey, Greg.
Coach, how you doing?
Good. How you doing, Greg?
Good, good. Has your scout team been able to give you a good look with the triple option? What have you seen from that group this week, and how important is that to getting ready?
It's probably the most important part. If it's been any week as far as preparation, this week has been it by far. And, they've tried. They gave us the best look that they possibly could. They took it personal, which they do every week. But there's no way for us to get the real feel of this thing until we actually get out there on the field because they say this offense can't be duplicated. There's a lot of people that try to emulate it, but, you don't have that success on the practice field. It takes a lot of hours and years and months of grinding it out to be a perfectionist at this. And our kids know that they're going to have to adjust quickly. Some people say after the first series, some people say after the first quarter. Each team is different. I hope we adjust to the speed of the game and what they're doing very quickly and help us get a chance to get on and off the field quicker to get the ball back to our offense.
Do you like how your secondary players fit into defending that type of look, or do you need to be able to get more linebackers and defensive linemen on the field for this kind of a matchup?
We're going to go with our best 11, and certain situations we'll put more linebackers or defensive linemen on the field, and that's more of maybe a short yardage, or we're going to match the personnel that they're putting out there as well. But all in all, each guy has to do their job, and, last week it was more covering and protecting the deep ball. This week it's going to be more about putting my eyes in the right place, not getting food on play action, but supporting the run. So it's different challenges each week, but it all starts with their eyes, and it all starts with being disciplined and guys raking their own leads.
A lot of these guys played against this system last year. Is that experience helpful through the week? How have you seen some familiarity maybe with what they're going to be up against?
You know, I don't know what happened last year. I do from listening to the guys. It was a close game, it was a tough game to the fourth quarter. I think the biggest thing you can take from last year's experience is that they've seen the tempo, they've seen some of the things that how it will take place in the actual game, but schematically we're going to defend it a little bit different than what they did, and hopefully we get a little bit better results. But all in all, I think it gives them some kind of concept of what to expect, and hopefully that'll carry over in the game Saturday.
What is it like, from a competitive advantage standpoint of having to devote a week to this system that really doesn't carry over much to the rest of the year and what you're going to see? Is that like an unfortunate circumstance as a defensive coordinator, or how do you view that dynamic?
Well, it's just a part of the game. Sometimes you have to face things that's unique. Probably where it's disadvantage to us. Normally, when you have an offense that's this unique, you work on them in the summer, you work on them in the spring, so that when they come up on the schedule, it's just not the 3 days of preparation that you put in and see if your kids can respond. Of course, we can't do anything about those situations in the hand that we were presented. So we're just happy to be playing. We're happy that our kids have continued to take care of themselves to allow us to stay COVID-free and give us this chance to play the game.
In general, what kind of a mental and physical toll has the season taken on your guys so far? Jeff told us over the weekend that that's becoming kind of a concern.
Well, anytime you're dealing with 18, 19-year-olds, 20-year-old kids, you don't understand some of the options or the obstacles that they're overcoming. Of course, we all, including myself, have different forms of adversity to overcome. The biggest challenge, what we tell our guys is, let's not put a period where a comma should be. And what that means is when we face an obstacle, when we face something, let's not close the door. Let's take it head on. Let's learn from it. Let's be better the next time and figure out how to continue to grow. And those are the things that our kids are dealing with, whether it's family members, whether it's coaches, friends, dealing when they have the COVID situation, and just keeping their prayers, just staying strong and continue to believe that good things and good days are ahead of us.
Hey, JJ?
Ty, Coach Traylor was telling us he kind of likes to lighten the mood from time to time. Do you ever get in on some of that?
When he say lighten the mood, what does he mean? What is he talking about? And I can tell you if I fit in on that.
He says he likes to tell some jokes and kind of, just kind of take some of the mental edge off the guys from time to time. Do you kind of think that's important?
Hey, JJ, your whole deal was kind of like, and I don't know if everybody else on that knew that it went out of phase, but let me tell you this. We say a lot of jokes, and we lighten a lot of moods in this room. Some of these jokes we say kind of stay private because they be maybe X-rated. And the best jokes on our staff on the defensive side of the ball, if it's not myself, is just left. He has the driest, corniest joking guy that I know of. But all in all, we have fun. We got a guy on our staff on defense we call Bo Duke, and he's just a slayer. But we won't talk about what all that stuff means. But yeah, we're lighten the load. We get in on it. We get on the offense, the head coach, a little bit everyone. So yeah, this game's a serious game, and you got to have some fun. You got to have some fun, and the biggest time you have fun is when your kids play up to the expectations and the culture, you win. But day in and day out, football's a tough game. It's a tough sport, but at the middle of it, at some point, you got to have some fun and find some other enjoyment. So, yes, we will lighten the mood.
Hey, Greg.
From the physical perspective, is there anything you can do to sort of make sure that toll doesn't add up through the year? Ways to kind of cut back in practice or to make sure they're getting the right recovery. How do you approach that?
The injury report will tell you a lot. Just like this ball game, they're going to do a lot of cutting, and it's going to be a physical game, and it'll take a toll. And we'll see the guys on Sunday. We'll get an injury report, and Coach Traylor's smart about taking care of the kids. A lot of guys say he's a player's coach. Well, the part of the player's coach is he understands that their body only can take so much. So, yes, we'll cut back certain periods throughout the week or lighten some of the contact on certain things. But, ultimately we still have to work fundamentals and continue to do the things it takes to win a game. But the more you can minimize some of the physical contact throughout the week, you got to reduce some of it as the season goes along.
Is that an especially tough balance this week? Because the kids probably need the live reps against that triple option look since they haven't seen it otherwise.
Now, we hadn't been live since August. We don't go live. Our only live reps come when we play the game. So even in a situation where we're facing this offense, we won't go live. We won't cut our own guys. There's a lot of things that will happen Saturday that we won't do until Saturday gets here. That's why we say it's very important that we adjust quickly, because we're not going to do those things. We'll never lose a kid on the practice field. If something's ever going to happen, we're going to make sure it's live bullets and we get a chance to go out there and compete and make it all count.
And you mentioned the injury standpoint and the amount of those that have racked up so far this year. Have you felt the impact of that within your group, or how difficult has that been so far?
Our trainer, Nick, does a good job. Tariq Woolen, we wish he didn't have a cast on, and he did make one interception, but I think he could have got his hands on the ball or two last week that, maybe injury hindered him a little bit. Tyler Monkey is another guy. I think we have 3 or 4 guys on defense with their hand casted up where, it's tough enough to play with 2 hands, more or less one. Country, a couple of defensive backs that's been out for a couple of weeks. It's just something we can't control. That's why recruiting is so critical, that you develop depth, that you recruit other caliber guys that you feel strongly about that can come in and contribute. And, our young guys have stepped up. And I say young, we're talking about a Jamal Liggett, I'm talking about Antonio Parks, Christian Clayton, still a freshman. So some of these guys are stepping up, and accepting the role and the challenge of being a player. I'll tell you another one, Xavier Spencer. He's the guy that probably play a lot more just because of his work ethic and putting himself in position to help our defense.
And then lastly for me, Jeff told us yesterday that you guys had a positive COVID test come back within the group this week and that there would be some contact tracing going on. I'm just wondering if it's had any impact on the defense at all, or if you feel like you guys are 100% ready to go for Saturday.
Well, we're not 100%, and those things don't pertain to COVID on our side of the ball. So we don't think a few guys will still participate. But, that's out of our control. We try to spend a lot of time on controlling the controllables and, the serenity prayer of understanding what we can and cannot do and having the courage to change the things that we can. And, it's football, it's life, it's every day. So we don't look at anything in a negative standpoint. We just go out and battle, and the guy who goes out has an expectation and a standard to give us his best, and his best to be good enough.